The LA Clippers bounced back in the nation's capital with a third quarter flurry in what was a shaky first half defensively against the Washington Wizards, but a third quarter takeover led them to being able to relax in the fourth. How about Kawhi Leonard? How about some Brandon Boston Jr. minutes without Paul George? Let's talk about this W on today's Locked On Clippers.
You are Locked On Clippers, your daily Los Angeles Clippers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, sir. You are locking in with the Clips. Thank you for making Locked On Clippers the first listen of your day, your team every day. I'm your host, Darian Vaziri, born and raised in LA and in my 19th season as a Clipper fan. You can also follow me on Twitter and Instagram at DimeDropperPod and subscribe to my own YouTube channel, Dime Dropper, for even more LA Clipper and LA sports content. Went live after I watched the game, and Locked On Clippers is free and available wherever you get your podcasts, including YouTube. And I want you to let me know what you thought of Amir Coffey and Brandon Boston in this game. Let me know what you thought of their performances. I am curious to hear your thoughts. And this episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the best daily fantasy sports platform in North America. All you got to do is go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNBA and use code LockedOnNBA for a first deposit match up to $100. All right, in this one, going to be talking about the game, when we turned it around, and the performances of some of our individuals, including Kawhi, and a certain Brandon Boston Jr. got some run in this one. And Paul George was load managed, or injury managed, whatever you want to call it, rested. I know everybody gets so weird with the semantics of those words and stuff, but he was load managed for the first time this season, and honestly, I'm okay with it. You're playing the Wizards, no Jordan Poole. They're one of the worst teams in the league. You still have Kawhi, you still have James Harden, you still have Russell Westbrook. Get it done. Give Paul George a little bit of a break with that groin injury that's been acting up. Maybe even rest him against Detroit. I don't know. You have the ability to. And what's amazing is that Kawhi, healthy. James Harden, healthy. Russell Westbrook, healthy. And by the way, that's only the third game Paul George has missed all season. And I'm going to keep knocking. Because it's going well right now. So the Clippers bounced back against their after their loss against the Cavs with the 125-109 victory in Washington. We're now 3-1 on this Grammy road trip, so trending in the right direction with Detroit next. I will say this, though. The first quarter wasn't pretty in this game. We were allowing a lot of points. Kyle Kuzma had 14 points. We had Harden guard him in the beginning, and that wasn't working out. Then we had Kawhi guard him, and he was scoring on him in the first quarter. So he got going. 14 in the first, but I'll tell you, we had some good first quarter performances on our side as well, starting with Amir Coffey, who started in place of Paul George, and boy, did he play well. 10 points in the first quarter. Kawhi Leonard, 11 in the first quarter, and he played every minute of it. James Harden, 6 points, 2 assists in the first, and Norman Powell was able to come in and hit 2 threes. That being said, we couldn't really guard, and Bilal Coulibaly, he really impressed me in this game with his athleticism and his defense. He even stripped Harden clean, and that's only happened twice this season. I forget who the first one was, but it was somebody kind of unsuspecting. But Harden does not usually get his pocket picked, so credit to Bilal Coulibaly. I was pretty impressed by him. And also on the interior, we were kind of getting eaten up. They got some offensive rebounds in that first quarter, and Daniel Gafford threw down a dunk right over the top of Mason Plumlee. So again, Mason Plumlee, I think he's been very serviceable without Ivica Zubac, but rim protecting wise, he's, non-existent really. Also, speaking of non-existent defensively, I thought in the first quarter and parts of the first half, Harden and Russ both were lazy. Like Russ, he was not fighting over any screens at all. It was not the Russell Westbrook I've become accustomed to seeing defensively. He seemed like he was ball watching a little bit. James Harden, something I've noticed about him, whenever he does his little, side step or pull back three or that little step back, when he misses a three, he holds his follow through and steps forward, right? A lot of times the guy that was contesting on him will just start leaking out and he won't react quickly enough. So that's something to watch. He's got to be able to get back even when he misses. I'm all for holding your follow-through. That's great fundamentals, but you got to get back. 37-35 after one for the Clips. Something I thought was very interesting, though, and I'll talk about this in more depth in the third segment, but Brandon Boston got minutes with Paul George out. He was in with Norm, Russ, Kawhi, and Tice. And one thing I thought was very interesting was that Ty Lue went ultra small. We had a lineup with Harden, Norm, Russ, Brandon, and Terrence Mann at the 5. Thankfully, the Wizards don't have anybody really good in terms of big men that can exploit that. But it actually worked a little bit. You know, we took our biggest lead of the game, which was 7 at the time, with that lineup before Kawhi could come back in. And you saw guys getting aggressive defensively. James Harden started getting his hand on some balls. Terrence Mann was physical. Brandon Boston, I thought, had a couple of really good possessions guarding one-on-one and closing out and contesting. You can clearly tell, the last season or so, whenever I see Brandon get minutes, he's more in tune defensively because, he's not getting that many minutes, and he knows that's the knock on him. But the very small lineup was solid. But Kawhi Leonard, he's really the one that kind of got us going. 19 points in the first half, but we were only up by 6 at halftime, and then the third quarter. It starts with the defense. So the moral of the story, this game, it was the third quarter. We completely took it over. We won it 40-19. Which kind of tells me that we were playing with our food. We knew we could turn it up at any time. Remember, they're already missing Jordan Poole. And not like he's having a very good season, but he's still a microwave that if on the right night can get hot and cause you problems. So we didn't have to worry about him. It was really, can we stop Kyle Kuzma and Tyus Jones? Terrence Mann had Tyus Jones. Kawhi Leonard was guarding Kuzma more in that second half, and man, he started shutting him down. The way Kawhi Leonard was able to kind of take over this game defensively in that third quarter, and everybody, just more attention to detail, more physicality, more ball pressure. And mind you, yeah, we don't have Paul George defensively. Yeah, we don't have Ivica Zubac, but Amir Coffey, Terrence Mann, Kawhi Leonard, and an engaged James Harden is pretty good. And you started to see James Harden get his hands on all kinds of balls. 2 steals and 4 blocks for James. That's amazing, right? 6 steals, blocks combined. Stalks, as they call them. Kawhi Leonard, 4 steals and a block. Amir Coffey, a steal. So there you go. Activity, and we were able to get out and run off of those misses. An interesting stat that Christina Pink, it was great to have back on the broadcast tonight. Not to say anything bad about the other guy who's been killing it as well. We apparently are leading the league in fast break points the last 5 games, which is very interesting. It tells you that when we're taking advantage of misses and turnovers, pushing the pace. And as I said, third quarter, tightening up on D. We went on an 18-4 run to make it 84-64. And Kawhi Leonard was really leading the charge, locking up Kuzma, forced an air ball at one point, and Harden started hitting shots. They were going under some screens. Harden made him pay. Kawhi was cooking. And then you had Russ posting up towards the end of the quarter on Tyus Jones. Got a layup and had that really nice pass to Kawhi that I felt was kind of unnecessary. He could have gone up himself, but still added some dramatic effect. And man, there were a lot of Russ jerseys in the crowd that I saw on TV. And he did play a very strong season there in Washington, D.C. in 2020, 2021. But you know the pull that Russ has. And it's great to see some representation that was pro-Clippers in a road game. Also, Mason Plumlee, one of the big reasons that we started playing much better in that third quarter, his rebounding was phenomenal. His offensive rebounding especially. In the third quarter, he had 4 of his 5 offensive rebounds, 8 of his 11 rebounds. So that quarter was really big time for Mason. And the Clippers as a whole, BBJ and Norm closed that quarter with Russ and Kawhi, and the game was basically over by the fourth. The people that are going to complain that we're not playing well in garbage time, I mean, seriously, the fact that that's what you're complaining about this season just shows how well we're playing. The amount of fourth quarters in which Kawhi is not playing is amazing. It's amazing. It's championship stuff. And that's why his stats don't look as crazy as some other guys who are grinding to get results. That needs to be taken into consideration. What's the goal of the game? Is the goal to put up more stats to bolster your MVP case? Because right now, Kawhi is nowhere near 17 games missed. Knock on wood. I'm still knocking. He should be an MVP consideration, especially if we get the 1 seed and we're moving up. And with the Nuggets loss, because Nikola Jokic was not, Paul George was not the only one load managed. Nikola Jokic was back And that's what he was listed out as, or out for, back. And they lost to OKC. So we're in third, and we're right behind OKC in Minnesota. Coming up, though, going to be talking more about the game, specifically Kawhi Leonard and the way he was able to take over. I got to tell you a little something about Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the best daily fantasy sports platform in North America, and here's how it works. All you got to do is pick more than or less than on 2 to 6 player stat projections in any league and watch the winnings roll in. And with basketball season and the Super Bowl in effect, you can now pick combo projections across multiple sports with the Specials League, a league created specifically for combo projections that includes 2 or more players from different sports or leagues. And PrizePicks even offers a reboot policy so that your entries stay in play even if one of your guys gets hurt. How convenient is that? Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNBA and use code LockedOnNBA for a first deposit match up to $100. That's prizepicks.com/LockedOnNBA and use code LockedOnNBA for a first deposit match up to $100. All right, Clippers winning this one 125-109 in the nation's capital. We're back to over 500 away from home, 12-11, 31-15 on the season. And for those that are keeping track of our numbers, we have now won 28 out of our last 36 games. That is all since the lineup change of putting Harden in the starting lineup and Russell Westbrook going to the bench. 28-8. That's elite. 3-1 on this Grammy trip. Up by 20 plus in all 3 of the dubs. 23-4 since December 1st, which is amazing. We've won 14 out of our last 17, 6 out of our last 7, and Kawhi Leonard is 21-3 in his last 24 games. As I said, we might have lost to the Cavs, but I think you should give more credit to Cleveland in the fact that they were able to beat us when we're playing such good basketball. The Clippers are playing as well as anyone in the league right now. New York Knicks are playing really well. I got to hand it to them. I see what they're doing. But in the West, we're playing as well as anyone, and this win against Detroit is a great opportunity for us to get closer to that 1 seed because losses are going to be coming. These teams, Minnesota, OKC, Denver, they're going to start playing each other more. The beauty of it is we've played Denver 3 times already. So, I mean, we're going to have to see OKC and Minnesota again, but that's fine. Let's talk about Kawhi Leonard. What makes me confident about seeing those teams again. Kawhi Leonard was spectacular in this game. The fact that he was able to score 31 points in 3 quarters and effortlessly too. 56% from the field. 14 for 25. 1 of 4 from 3. So he's actually not been shooting his 3-ball that well on this trip. 2 for 2 from the line. 31 points, 9 boards, 4 assists, 4 steals, 1 block, and 0 turnovers. He still played 30 minutes, but man, what a game. He's my player of the game, no doubt. But the way he was able to take over defensively, his help defense, backline rim protection when Mason Plumlee was pulled out of the paint, and of course, guarding Kuzma. I thought he was magnificent. James Harden, our second best player in this one, in my opinion. 25 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals, 4 blocks. I loved his activity defensively in the second half. 7 for 15 from the field, 5 for 10 from 3. So he was letting that 3 fly, and he was hitting it, and he was 6 for 6 from the line. And in this game, the Clippers shot 47% from the field, 100 shot attempts. So 47 for 100. That's good that they got up that many shots. 12 for 30 from 3. So finally, after some rough 3-point shooting games, we got a 40% night. And then 19 for 22 from the foul line. You love to see that. We shot 86% from the foul line. They shot 67% from the foul line. And they shot 31% from 3 to our 40. Kuzma ended up scoring 27. That was their leading scorer. No problems, though, really. As I said with James Harden, very solid stat line. 25, 9, 5, 2, and 4 on very efficient shooting in 33 minutes. I think he stayed in a little too long, though. I don't know. We should have kept him out or taken him out like 3 minutes earlier. But it is what it is. How about Amir Coffey? I thought he was unbelievable. Both ends. You know, his ability to contest shots, slide his feet well, get out in transition, but also he's making the three ball. And I know there's going to be that conversation that's going to probably be happening in this comment section. Same conversation as 2022. Is he better than Terrence? I don't think that there's that much between them. I'd still take Terrence for his experience and his consistency and his athleticism. And I think just he's proven more defensively over the years. Also, a very good cutter. And great guy to have in like that dunker spot, transition player. But Amir Coffey's a good transition player, good defender, a little bigger, and he's a better three-point shooter. He always has been. So if you watch the 2022 Clippers, I know that was 1 year before I became host of this podcast, but you can go back to my Dime Dropper channel. Like, you can see what I was saying about him in the moment. Every time Amir Coffey gets opportunities like this, he shows that he's an NBA player, and he's doing that right now on a consistent basis, and the Harden trade has opened up the spot for him. Because at first we tried out PJ Tucker, it didn't work, then Kobe Brown, and then when Paul George got injured for those first 2 missed games, we saw Amir Coffey start in his place, and we were like, man, he's playing really well, wouldn't want to take him out. In this game, the Brewmaster, in 17 minutes of play, 21 minutes of play, had 17 points on 5 for 7 shooting, 2 for 2 from 3, and 5 for 5 from the line. 17 points in 21 minutes on that efficiency. He was awesome. Terrence Mann, not quite as efficient, but still played good defense. 6 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists on 2 for 6 shooting and 0 for 3 from deep. He is shooting 31% from 3 now, but I have a feeling it's going to be back to 30 after that 0 for 3 night. Just want him to start being more consistent with the 3 ball, which he has been in this calendar year. But I just want to see that percentage keep going up, and I'm confident that it will. But the thing about Terrence, the worst thing he's going to do is miss shots. He's going to still play hard. He's going to do the right things on the court. As I said, no turnovers. And as a team, Clippers were really good about taking care of the ball in this one. Just 8 turnovers as a squad. So that was really good stuff. Mason Plumlee, talked about his rebounds and how good he was in the third quarter. He had 5 points and 11 boards, 5 offensive rebounds, 2 for 5 from the field. One of those was an and one off a Russ pass in 19 minutes. He did make that free throw. Look, Mason, he's not a very good rim protector. He's not a very good defender in any way, but I will say this. He's serviceable, and he's doing his job with Zubats out right now, and that's important. If we're winning games, we got our starters sitting out the fourth. He's doing his job. Daniel Tice, pretty quiet. I thought he offered a little more resistance than Mason Plumlee, though. Even though Mason Plumlee is tied with Kawhi for the best plus-minus in the game, tells you why that stat can be very misleading at times. Daniel Tice, 4 points, 2 boards in 20 minutes on 2 for 5 shooting. He was okay. Russell Westbrook. He had an electric second half. 9 points, 7 assists, 3 rebounds. No turnovers, so you love to see that. 4 for 11 from the field, 0 for 1 from 3. So I like that he's kind of toned down on the threes. 1 for 2 from the line in 21 minutes. Then how about Norman Powell? 14 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists on 5 for 10 shooting and 3 for 5 from 3. Keeping it efficient as always. 50% from the field, 60 from 3, Norm. Can't say enough about the way he's been playing lately. Knocking down catch and shoot threes, attacking closeouts, not even hitting the mid-range when it's there. Really good stuff from Norm. And coming up, the appearance of Brandon Boston. What did I notice from BBJ? Going to be talking about that coming up. I got to tell you a little something about FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Happy Super Bowl to all who celebrate from FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. If you're like me, Super Bowl Sunday is all about scoring the best seat on the couch, grabbing your favorite football snacks, whichever your family makes, but maybe you have some traditions with your friends, I don't know, but also placing some super bets. And this one is going to be a good one. Niners, Chiefs. I want the Chiefs to win because I'm a Rams fan, so I don't want the Niners to win anything. But you can place all sorts of bets on FanDuel. FanDuel has so many ways for you to end the season with a W or 2 or 3. And not only can you bet on who will win Super Bowl 58, but FanDuel also has bets for which players will score a touchdown, how many points will be scored, and more. New customers, join today and you'll get $200 in bonus bets if your first bet of $5 or more wins. Just visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to sign up. That's FanDuel.com/lockedon. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. All right, Clippers winning this one 125-109 in Washington, D.C. The fourth game of our Grammy road trip. Still got Detroit, still got Miami on this road trip. So, still got some ways to go, and I think we can come out with a couple of wins to end it, hopefully. Miami did break their 7-game losing streak on Wednesday night. We got Atlanta ending the trip. But let's talk about Brandon Boston Jr. in this game. He got some real minutes, played in some small ball lineups, played in some regular lineups, and it's been rare seeing Brandon Boston Jr. get real rotation minutes as a Clipper, but especially this season. And I have to say, I was impressed, but not really, because I think Brandon Boston's really good. It just shows, though, that playing in garbage minutes, and you saw him talk about it after the game with Law Murray, one of our Clipper beat writers. He was saying, this is one of my first time where I was playing a real game. And I think it's very different when you come in garbage time trying to chuck and everyone's like looking to you to create shots and you're just shooting contested shots against guys who are getting only like a little bit of burn on their teams that are trying to play hard and earn more minutes. That's not really an accurate representation, no matter if he goes 1 for 17 in garbage time. Like, he shoots inefficiently, I know, in garbage time, but I don't think that's much of an indicator of how good he is. I think every time you've seen him play in real minutes in a game for the Clippers, he's shown signs of being able to score, of being able to knock down open shots. And the thing I keep harping on that I think is underrated, defensively, he's really not that bad. He is skinny and can get overpowered at times, but he's got long arms and good anticipation in the passing lanes. And in this game, I thought you saw some really good lateral moments and staying in front, causing misses. And what more can you ask for? Causing misses, being engaged defensively, closing out hard. I mean, really good stuff from Brandon. And then offensively, getting to the basket, attacking closeouts. He had a nice dunk in the second half. I just liked his aggression, and that's one thing you can always count on with Brandon. He is going to be aggressive. He's going to look for a shot, but I like how it just felt like it was more in the flow of things because he's playing with better players. And he talked about that after the game, playing with Kawhi, playing with Harden, playing with Russ. It's totally different than playing garbage minutes and just chucking up shots. In this game, Brandon Boston, 12 points, 3 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, 1 block, 5 for 11 from the field, 1 for 2 from 3, 1 for 2 from the line. But get this, because the fourth quarter just kind of skews things. Before the fourth quarter, he was 3 for 5 from the field. So shooting 60%, doing a lot of good things. We didn't have a good fourth quarter, but I was very happy with what I saw. Does it mean anything? Not really. He's not going to get minutes this year. But, man, it's tough. It's like he should be getting minutes somewhere, but I also want him to be a Clipper for the long haul. It just depends, like, when are we going to use Brandon Boston in the rotation? Next year? It all depends on how this year goes, right? So there's a really good player in there, and I hope he gets to be a Clipper because I love his answers. He's got great energy. Whenever I holler at him at a game, he always says hi. And you can see him on the bench. He's always making these funny faces, and he's super engaged and getting hyped. And just, it feels like he has a good relationship with everybody just from the outside looking in. So I like his demeanor. I like his professionalism. Everybody I've talked to that has met him has said good things. And I like how animated he is on the bench. Sometimes I just watch Brandon when a great crazy thing happens and there's a crazy Clipper bench reaction. People are always looking at Bones, Russ. But sometimes I just look at Brandon. He's having these funny grins on his face. And I don't know. I think I love the homegrown guys. What can I say? You get drafted by the Clippers. We always support a little differently. And that's just not the Clippers. It's every organization. A player that's drafted by your franchise, you're always going to have that affinity towards to a degree and hope it works out for him. So I hope it does for Brandon. But that's it for me in this one, guys. Really solid win. There's not too much to get into from a tactical standpoint because it's like we switched a lot like we always do. Tice was switching onto the perimeter at times. Nobody elite to stop on their end. And offensively, nothing too crazy. Clippers win it 125-109. Rolling right now. Let me know what you thought of the episode. Let me know what you thought of Amir and Brandon's performances. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at DimeDropperPod. Subscribe to my own YouTube channel, Dime Dropper, for even more Clipper content. See what I said right after the game. And, of course, Locked On Clippers is free and available wherever you get your podcasts, including YouTube. Let me know what you thought. Hit the subscribe button and tell all your friends. We're almost at 5K, guys. Let's do this. We are right there. Let's show them what Clipper Nation's all about because guess what? We're going to be going deep in the playoffs this year, I think. So we got to get people to come to the Locked On Clippers channel because we're one of the best teams in the league. The age-old proverb continues. Go Clippers. Detroit next.